Miami sneaks up on you. Or do we change and find ourselves sneaking up, washing up, ending up in Miami?
I took a walk through this beautiful world, felt the cool rain on my shoulder, found something good in this beautiful world. I felt the rain getting colder. Sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la.
Miami. It's a big place. Bigger and more multifaceted than it's given credit for.
Miami, where you are?
We tend over the years to focus on Miami's, how shall I put this, party zone.
Party don't stop, 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 stop.
It's the kind of place you say, that could never be me. And then it is. It's a temptation that's almost irresistible. The seductions of flash, of palm trees, balmy nights, deco architecture, the manufactured dreams of many television shows made real. But across the causeway, a few miles down the way, there are other worlds, older ones. I think it's safe to say, better ones. Way out west, 20 miles from the airport, tucked in yet another strip mall, is Islas Canarias. And you go there because, well, you need coffee. And because Cuba, respect. And because Michelle Bernstein is there.
Is this Miami? It was a long time getting here.
You need a car in Miami. And yes, this is like the heart of Miami.
Michelle is one of Miami's most iconic, influential chefs, born and bred here.
So when people say, where did you grow up? What do you say, out?
Miami.
Where in Miami?
This is way out west.
Okay.
I mean, you can't get much further west than this.
What's beyond here?
Swampland.
Oh,
not
awesome.
much.
Body
Yeah.
disposal.
Yeah, well, you can say that. I can't. This restaurant, we would actually come here for the seafood, and it would be elegant.
Well, you'd have the waiters in the little bolero jacket type things, right?
Usually a
Little
bow tie. Yeah, and there are still some Cuban places in Miami that still have that.
This is how you drink coffee in Miami.
The real places give you the milk first and then the coffee.
Now, what are they called again? Those tiny little chiclets?
Coladas.
That's coladas.
A
And that's,
colada is a big cup with little cups.
it's basically like the coffee version, the caffeine version of a one-hitter. I mean, you basically, so I'd have one of those, and then at the next place I'd have another, and I basically, get increasingly jangly as I head towards work or whatever my final destination
I
is.
grew up on the colada. At 4, I had my first, I think, colada. We all give our babies coffee. They put their finger in it. to taste it, and they all grew up loving coffee.
That's good. So this is a non-judgmental land, Miami.
You know what? It is. You can pretty much get away with almost anything.
It's good coffee.
I'm so glad you like it. A lot of people don't like it.
Really?
Well, because they think it's too sweet.
And many of you watching who are dimly aware of Miami and this sandwich thing they call a Cubano that you may or may not have had before, you're thinking, yes, a Cubano sandwich. But you'd be wrong. This is not a Cubano sandwich, strictly speaking. This, my friends, is a medianoche. Close, a cousin. Like a Cubano, it's got roast pork, ham, Swiss cheese, pickles, and a little mustard. And like a Cubano, it's pressed until hot and runny inside, but
You see the bread, it's darker and it's sweeter.
Right.
So you have a real contrast with the salty pickles and the pork and the bread. You see how juicy that is? That's the telling of a good Cuban sandwich.
You know what pisses me off when people try to improve on this?
A lot of people try to improve on it. You can't fancify a Cuban
Right,
sandwich, I'm
exactly.
sorry. How is it? Is it yummy?
It's good. A lot of thought is given to the structure of the sandwich. You know,
It's all about the layers,
Yeah.
so much of everything.
yeah. So for you, this is the perfect breakfast, right?
Good, right? Yeah. And I always go for the salty, never the sweet.
I don't care about sweet things. If I had to give up one course of the meal, dessert, you know, hot
Oh,
second.
of course.
Like cheese over dessert any day.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I would rather a steak over dessert, but maybe that's because my mother's from Argentina. I don't know.
This is my world away from the world. To me, it's my little king's domain.
there's one place I keep coming back to. It's a place where if you look deep enough, ask the right questions, you can get a whole history of Miami from one man. This man, Matt Klein.
You're gonna have to remember you're speaking to a 100-year-old man.
I know, you look good.
Raise your voice a little bit.
You look good. If I look that good when I'm 60, I'll be happy.
You know the amazing thing about being 100 is? A year ago, I was 99. Nobody paid attention to me. Didn't care. I became 100, my God.
Matt Klein, the owner, proprietor, and regular bartender at Mac's Club Deuce, turned 100 years old this year. Yes, 100. He's still here. The cigarette smoke and dark, dank atmosphere, clearly good for a guy who's seen it all.
That's 73 years ago, Fort Benning, Georgia. I was in the 2nd Armored Division.
Mac came to Miami in 1945 from New York's Lower East Side by way of the Battle of Normandy.
I came here because I was wounded. The warm weather was much better for me.
Well, there were a lot of GIs here during the war, right?
The war made Miami Beach for the simple reason that people were stationed here and all of a sudden they saw a world that they didn't believe.
During World War II, Miami saw a massive influx of military personnel. Hotels which had seen a sharp drop in business made a deal with the government to house troops at the empty resorts.
They told their parents about it. Their parents came down, sons came down. They opened businesses here, and it was basically Jewish at the time. And that's how it started.
By the fall of 1942, more than 78,000 troops were living in 300 hotels in Miami and Miami Beach.
How long have you been running the Deuce?
I took over in 1964. Half my life I spent here. Miami Beach has turned over at least 6 times since I've been here. All that neon is Miami Vice.
Right.
They put it in here.
Yeah.
This was their favorite bar.
Yeah, but it makes sense too, because come on.
Well, it was very flattering. The same as how flattering it is to have you here.
I love this place. I mean, I love it. It's my favorite bar in Miami. To many more.
The dreamers, the visionaries, crooks, and con men who built Miami envisioned many different kinds of paradise. A new Jerusalem in the seemingly infinitely expanding real estate. Just fill in where there's water, and you've got property. Or as in Coral Gables, build a new Venice, complete with Italo-Moorish Hollywood fantasy architecture and grand canals, gondolas to ferry the new seekers to their palazzos in the sun. The dream was as expandable as the space. Where there was water, there was now, magically, terra sort of firma. And in the 80s, where there was decline, a vacuum, suddenly there was a new and vibrant economy. One that raised all boats, filled Miami with new buildings, shiny cars, swanky nightclubs, floods of cash, and a new reputation for murder and criminality to go with it. Cocaine. Say what you will, cocaine altered the skyline of Miami forever. It made, for better or worse, Miami sexy again.
Going back to the very beginning, was Miami always a criminal enterprise? But I mean that in a good way. Outlaw culture is a very deep part of American culture.
But Carl Hyacin says, in Florida, we don't produce or manufacture anything but oranges and handguns. There is no indigenous industry. We sell sunshine. We
sell you a dream.
The only jobs we have are in hospitality and restaurants and
real
hotels
estate.
And real estate. It's all to sell the dream to the next people.
In 1981, the FBI called Miami the most violent city in America. The drug industry brought in an estimated $7 to $12 billion a year, and that's of 1981 money. That is a lot of trickle-down. One of the most successful documentaries in the history of film is Cocaine Cowboys, which tells that story. A film made by these guys, Alfred Spellman and Billy Corbin.
So things were in decline. Cocaine sort of saved the city.
Well, you
We'd say so. Are you gonna get in trouble? Are you gonna get in trouble for it? But yes.
But by 1981, you had a murder rate. You had 635 homicides here. 25% of those bodies had automatic weapons bullets in them.
Right.
We talk about the uncomfortable reality of where a lot of modern Miami came from over something you just have to hit hard when in Miami in season. Stone crabs.
Federal Reserve branch in Miami had a $5 billion cash surplus, at mostly 50s and $100 bills, all of which had trace elements of cocaine on them.
And the guys who were in cocaine trafficking in the 70s and 80s who got busted and went to prison got out and are now big Medicare fraudsters.
Right.
He's whispering because they're probably here.
So where's the money now? How's business in general in Miami, and where's that business coming from?
Well, remarkably, the rebound from the Great Recession, people thought it would take almost a decade for all the condo inventory to get absorbed, and it seemed to happen almost overnight. By 2010, 2011, things had turned around here. We're in the middle of another huge boom. So who's buying? It's wealthy foreigners, a lot of flight capital from overseas, from Latin, South America, Russians.
Russians? If it's money looted from another country, do we care? Trickle down, boys, trickle down.
It has propped up Miami once again with another inflated bubble, and the question is, how long will it last?
There's history, and there's the more immediate needs of the present. I need food presently, and perhaps some fine bourbon. And when I need good food in a city not my own, more and more these days I call somebody who, if they weren't good at enough things already, has become something of an expert on good food around the world.
Every time I check Instagram, you're eating with one of my culinary heroes. You've eaten at Jiro.
Yes, you inspired that.
Also, he seems to like you a lot better than me.
Amir Khalib Thompson, known to most as Questlove.
You've been to this place before.
I live at this place.
Really?
Yes.
Yardbird quickly became a Miami favorite, serving over-the-top Southern classics to well-heeled bon vivants like, well, us.
The old joke was that James Brown was the hardest working man in show business. You make him look lazy. Let's review, okay? Band leader, producer, teacher.
Yeah.
Oh, DJ.
Yeah.
And
We're counting. Technically I have 16 jobs right now.
Deviled eggs with fresh dill and trout roe will be so over next year, but right now, I want like 10 more. Delicious. Fried green tomatoes with pork belly is the perfect thing for a guy who's looking to squeeze into a size 28 Speedo tomorrow and hit the beach.
yeah, how often are you in Miami?
3 to 5 times a year.
What makes the Miami sound different than the Detroit sound, the Philadelphia sound, the New York sound, whatever? Right?
You know what? Like, you can't say something specific like, well, Philadelphia had orchestral strings in their arrangement, whereas, you know, Stax Records had organ in theirs. But I do consider the sound of Miami to be the beginning of really great dance music.
What's called 77 Elvis pancakes, chocolate chip pancakes, bourbon maple syrup, banana compote, and peanut butter. Even if you're not the king, you'll want to die on the toilet like he did after this carbo load.
And we're really doing the Elvis experience right. I should be eating a fistful of Percodan with that,
Just
right?
a little.
Yardbird's signature fried chicken comes with chilled spiced watermelon and cheddar cheese waffles. Here they brine the chicken for a day, 27 hours to be exact, in a spicy bath that includes cayenne and black pepper, garlic, and onion. Tender inside and perfectly crispy on the outside.
To me, I like waffles and I like chicken, but I don't understand waffles and chicken together.
You still don't understand?
No, I mean, look, I understand people deeply love them. And I do like waffles, and I do love fried chicken. I just put them on separate plates, and I'm okay.
You don't want your food integrated?
Shrimp and grits, a Southern classic made with Florida shrimp, Virginia ham, and South Carolina stone ground grits.
Completely other subject. We're reading your book. Is it Curtis Mayfield you have bad associations with?
Whenever I hear Curtis Mayfield's Brady's Dead,
Right.
just as a kid, that particular chord structure always frightened me.
Aqualung, Jethro Tull. I whipped into a murderous rage right away.
Even now?
Even now, I'm angry that that band ever existed. I hate that whole English-y, old, bard, minstrelly, stand on one leg, mother. Hate that shit, you know. Yeah, I mean, you never know when you play people music, you know, were they molested by a rodeo clown to that song?
Right,
you know?
exactly.
And Jethro Tull is my version of that.
Who got here first? Who other than, say, some early Native American tribes and Spaniards? Caribbean blacks, most of whom were Bahamian. Bahamians figured heavily in the early development of South Florida, which began in earnest with the construction of railroads in the late 19th and early 20th centuries by this guy, Henry Morrison Flagler, the industrialist and tycoon largely credited with being the father of modern Florida. Flagler's dream was the Florida East Coast Railway, which would run from Jacksonville to Key West, connecting the ports of Miami to the rail system of the rest of the United States, creating along its route new towns, new cities, new Edens, where America's rising middle class could frolic and play. He also agreed to lay the foundation for a city on both sides of the Miami River. As more and more whites moved in, segregation took hold, and much of the Bahamian community was forced into black neighborhoods like Overtown and Liberty City. So if you're looking for old Miami, original Miami, you're looking to a great extent for Black Miami. These days, Liberty City is mostly ignored by developers. But back in the day, it was the epicenter of the Black community. A lot has happened since then.
Corned beef, 2 pieces of pancake, smoked sausage. Well, you need whale eggs and egg and cheese.
What do you usually
Oh
have?
man, the ball fish and grits. See, that's a Bahamian dish.
Your parents were Jamaican and Bahamian?
Yes, my mother was Bahamian, my dad was Jamaican.
Today, I'm having fish and grits at MLK Restaurant with this guy, Luther Campbell.
A lot of good cooking tradition in the family.
Oh yeah, one night we had rice and peas, the other night we had peas and rice.
Also known as Uncle Luke, or perhaps Luke Skywalker at various times. Luther is something of a musical, political, and legal legend, credited with pioneering what would be called Miami bass. Maybe you know him from such hits as 2 Live Crew's Me So Horny and Do Wah Diddy, or the groundbreaking Fair Use Supreme Court case, Campbell versus Acuff Rose Music.
How do you end up different growing up in Miami than you would have grown up in LA or New York?
People would say, oh, y'all Southern people, y'all South, y'all Bama, or whatever they want to call us. But in all actuality, we're an island town. I mean, Miami was made up of Bahamians that really built the city of Miami. So now you have a lot of different cultures.
Caribbean, South American.
Very
Very,
diverse.
very different.
Yeah.
How is that mix? How's that impacted the music?
Oh, it's everything in the music. It's everything. I mean, when people think about me, they always say, oh, this guy made this booty shaking music. You know, everybody is dancing. Everybody's dancing in a sexual way. You know, Jamaicans, they'll whine. You know, the girls will stand up on you, and I'm pretty sure you know about that. When the girls stand up on you and they put their butt on you and start whining, you know?
I've seen this on television.
It's no different than a lap dance.
Yeah. Among your other accomplishments, you ran for office.
Yeah.
About 70% residents of Miami speak Spanish at home. Enormous African-American, Afro-Caribbean community. How come the state keeps electing conservative white guys?
Conservative white guys, they'll pay their popular pastors, don't say nothing, don't energize your people. So you have a whole quiet community. You didn't get them excited about voting.
It's the opposite of the Get Out the Vote program. It's a don't bother to vote.
It's don't bother to vote. Take the governor's election. You know, African Americans voted at 20%. If we would have voted at 50%, Charlie Crist would have won the governor's race.
Right. You were selling Miami to somebody. What's the best thing about Miami?
Best weather.
Yeah. How do you handle the cold if you have to tour or something and you got to spend a week or 2 weeks in New York or Detroit or Chicago? I mean,
my mindset is I don't have to deal with this every day. I'm going back to sunshine. So when I got that on my mind, you know, I can go into any city. I can go into a blizzard. No, I know I'm going out. Y'all staying.
it's really good.
Back inland, another world of flavors. Little Haiti, just in case Miami didn't have enough tasty stuff from elsewhere. The B&M Market is a grocery store with a 4-seat cafe of sorts tucked away in the back. And they serve some of the dishes that make me happiest. Jerk chicken, who doesn't love that? Curried goat, roti, and this cow foot soup. The real deal, too. Flavors and textures, some next level stuff.
That looks, by the way, unbelievable. Look at that, just,
That jelly.
that's so good. What's the best thing about Miami?
The mix of cultures that we've got.
What's the worst thing?
You know what really pisses me off? I walk on the street and I say hi to people because that's kind of like how I am.
Right.
And I don't get a hi back a lot here.
To what do you attribute this?
The transient part of it. People don't feel rooted. They're all from South America, Central America. Their whole plan is to come here, do what they can to send their family money to buy the homes of their dreams, and then go back and live in them, which is great. I would probably do the same thing.
If I were to think about coming to Florida to live, what would seem attractive to me, and I mean this absolutely, find some place on the beach and descend into, you know, my liver-spotted, crocodile-skinned, you know, late-era George Hamilton phase and, you know, walk up and down with my metal detector with, you know, shorts up to here. I mean, that would be me. But what I find, people who go to live that dream, after a few years, they don't go to the beach.
Ask me when the last time I went to the beach was.
When is the last time you went to the beach?
About a year and a half ago.
What the is up with that?
We're working.
If you weren't working, do you think you'd be at the beach more often?
My dream is to have a house on the beach. I don't know why, I never go. But I love it. And I always say, I will never live in South Florida if I didn't live near water. And I live near water. And I do leave my doors open a lot. And I get the breeze, but I don't go to the beach. I barely even go in my swimming pool. But I know it's there.
Okay.
Standing here in the rain, trying to wash away my sins. Baby gonna left me. I don't think she's coming back.
Before Miami Bass, before the Miami Sound Machine, there was a Miami Sound. The music, the original Miami Sound we're talking about, came from this man, Willie Clark, and this place.
What was this space originally?
Well, this side was a little restaurant, smaller than this, and we were on the other side with the record shop.
Now it looks like a nondescript barbecue joint, but back in 1963, it was the home of Deep City Records. Willie Clark and his business partner Johnny Pearsall started Deep City, recording and promoting local talent out of Johnny's record shop. The label became a showcase for artists like Betty Wright and Helene Smith, Frank Williams and the Rocketeers, Johnny Killens and the Dynamites.
Everything that you've ever been credited for either producing or writing it is a very, very long list and an amazing list.
It's about 1,200.
1,200 songs.
It just flows, and I'm like what you might call a song mechanic. You bring it to me, I'll help you fix it.
Willie and his writing partner, Clarence Blowfly Reed, wrote such classics as Clean Up Woman, Rockin' Chair, and Willing and Able. Deep City was Miami's answer to Motown, a unique sound.
In 50 years, 100 years from now, if you're to do an internet search and you punch in the Miami Sound, your name is going to come up right away as principal creator of the Miami Sound. What were the distinctive features of the music you were making that separated it from Motown, Philadelphia, New York?
The culture was a mixture of Bahamian, Jamaican, and then some people who have come down from Georgia and Alabama. But that Bahamian influence was dominant.
Right.
We would have bands like the Junkanoo Band, and they would march from Overtown all the way to Liberty City and back, and with big parades. And so this influence of the dancing and the moving and the marching, I would say that was the main difference.
And you were teaching school during a lot of this period.
I was teaching school. I would walk in the front door of the school, look around, put my sign in, and walk out of the back door. And go straight to the studio. But you know, the principal knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
I did most of the Deep City music using that technique.
If only I could fly, I would take to the air.
And you're still out there, so your songs are still being played, still being sampled.
Yeah.
Which is good, right? I mean, that's
great.
Yeah.
If it weren't for the samples, I don't know what I would do. The part of the record industry that kept us alive was Europe.
The collectors must go crazy. The maniac collectors in Europe and Japan.
If I had known back then, if Johnny and I had known how hot we were there, I guess we would still be over there on biggest Motown or bigger.
This is an island, isn't it? I mean, really, it is kind of an
I
island.
think it's worse than the island.
Darling, I'm willing to forget about our past. Darling, I'm able to make our love last. I'm a one-man's woman, and I'm willing and able to be loved. Oh, yes, I am. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Another day, another country. Miami's like that. You could eat your way across the Caribbean and through all of Latin America. And then over to Africa, if you like. It's all there. Pepitos Plaza is Venezuelan. And if you know anything about me, you know I love few things more than big, new, unusual, comes from somewhere else, mutant versions of the giant hamburger. And this one is something special.
Okay, so this is the deal. This is all Venezuelan, which means everything's kind of protein on protein on protein, and it's all about a lot of sauces. All right, so we're gonna do the doralzuela. Absolutely, right? Okay.
What is this neighborhood?
Some people call it Doral, some people call it doralzuela, which is petite Venezuela. And yeah, you're way west. And you'll pretty much hear everybody speaking Spanish. There's almost no English spoken.
Most people in Miami speak Spanish at home.
Absolutely.
A lot over half.
Yeah, even if they're not Latin.
Right.
Because you can't really get a job if you're in the service industry, especially. You have to speak Spanish.
Meat on meat is something of a Venezuelan specialty, and this one has got what? A beef patty, ham, egg, 6 varieties of sauces, crispy matchstick potatoes, and cheese. It's big. Big, I tells you. You gotta demolish it in stages like you're imploding a casino or like a hyena grabbing an antelope on the hoof. You try and tunnel through the soft parts first.
This is a sort of an engineering challenge.
A larger mouth, possibly?
I mean, I'm gonna start crying. Look, you get that thing. All right, I'm going in. Good God.
Yes or no?
It's delicious, but
It's a little much, right?
there's no way this thing is holding together to the last bite.
All right, I can't even get the whole thing. Oh, ridiculous.
This is open till 4 a.m., so there's definitely a time of day when that seems like a perfectly reasonable idea.
If you drink too much, this will pretty much take care of everything that ever ailed you.
Long a refuge for people from all over the Caribbean basin and Latin America, Miami was also an inviting place for Americans who just wanted to get off the grid, live differently, make their own rules. If you've ever read the excellent Travis McGee novels of John D. MacDonald, you'll remember Travis, the mystery-solving boat bum who lived on a houseboat in Miami, the Busted Flush. People used to live like that. Less and less today.
When my wife passed away a few years ago, I was living in a condo and didn't want to do that anymore. Now I'm on this piece of iron.
Bob D'azevedo, a.k.a. Captain Bob, however, is still here and still living on his boat in the Miami River.
We sit out here and we look like we're enjoying ourselves, but it's really hard work. You know, just sitting here looking pretty. It's not for everybody. So, but yeah, it's a good life.
I've had many friends over the years who live on boats, work on boats, but these were just degenerate wind addicts.
Right.
You know, this is more of a lifestyle choice for you.
It is. It's got a machine shop on board, and I kind of wanted to get down in the Bahamas and let the boat pay for itself, earn its own keep. And, of course, the economy tanked, and now I'm living on it.
The 25-ton steel-hulled Achievement doesn't do much moving around these days. but it might have to soon.
Who else lives like you?
It used to be very common.
Yeah.
It's getting scarcer.
So how long do you think you got?
6 months, a year.
Really?
That complex that's going up right there, you see all the tower cranes. We sit here and watch them put the buildings up, and they're
coming closer.
They're creeping this way.
Yeah. You're not moving on a land anytime soon if you can avoid it.
Here, life keeps flowing by. I wave and keep on keeping on.
Miami's the kind of place you say, that could never be me. And then, it is.
So you've been here how many years now?
15 years.
15 years. You're a Floridian.
Yeah.
When I was young, this man was a role model, an ideal, a roadmap for bad behavior. His music, it turned out, was the soundtrack for most of my life. Still is. James Osterberg of Muskegon, Michigan. Known still all over the world as Iggy Pop.
You grew up in Michigan. You lived in New York for a long period of time.
I went from Michigan to London. I went from London to Hollywood, which was rough. Hollywood to Berlin, which was great. Back to London. And then New York from 79 to 99.
Was it a conceivable option at any point earlier on to say, I could live in Florida?
Yeah, it wasn't for me. I was hustling, hustling in a big city. It just kind of happened by chance. I had a shady friend who owned a condo here. And I thought, well, this is a nice little trashy hang. You could just pull up to the beach anytime you wanted and look out and see the end of complications. And anybody could do that, and it was safe and free. And I thought, this is beautiful.
So we're eating healthy today.
Yeah.
What do you like here?
I wouldn't have thought back then in my dorm room that all those years later I'd be eating healthy with Iggy Pop. Barbecue shrimp for the godfather of punk. I get wild and crazy with some roast pork. A little white wine, our only tilt towards the debauches of previous lives.
I well remember the first Stooges album coming out, the context of the time. This was, what, 69?
69, August.
In a lot of ways, as far as looking after my health, your music early on was a negative example.
I hear you.
And looking at my own life and career, I'm pretty much known for traveling around the world and recklessly drinking and eating to excess.
Yeah, sure.
What does it say about us that we are now sitting in a healthy restaurant? I just came from the gym, and we're in Florida.
Listen, if you just flamed out, you're in such voluminous and undistinguished company, and then all your works will flame out quicker with you.
What's a perfect day in Miami?
It's a clear morning, hot and humid. No moderate or any of that crap, no, hot, humid. The sun comes up in a hazy, tropical orange orb. And you're not working, you're not on a schedule, and you have no meetings, but you have somebody fun to spend the time with. And then you would go to the beach when the sun isn't right overhead yet, because the beach faces east, the sun sparkles on the water. And the sparkle was very nice. So, positive.
You're the template for the rock star, meaning other rock stars sort of look to you to figure out, how should I behave? Along with that, look, even at its worst, even if you're broke, you're a guy who at various points in life has pretty much, one way or the other, been able to have a lot of things. And ordinary people would never have. You've had
Yeah.
many, many adventures.
I know.
Given that, what thrills you?
The nicest stuff right now is it's just very embarrassing, but it's really embarrassing. Being loved and actually appreciating the people that are giving that to me. I don't see any birds at all here today. It's so quiet.
Is this the reward phase of your life, or is it just dump luck?
It has been mostly, I think, a reward phase for stuff I did up till the age 30. Stuff you had to do on instinct, not on intelligence.
See, I think you deserve it. But when I look at my own life, you know, I'm actually, I'm ambivalent. I mean, I'm still not so sure, you know?
I'm still curious. You seem like a curious person.
It's my only virtue.
There you go. All right. Curious is a good thing to be, you know? That seems to pay some unexpected dividends.
I am the passenger, and I ride and I ride. I ride through the city backsides. I see the stars come out of the sky. So let's ride and ride and ride and ride.
And I guess that's what it comes down to. All of it. Led here. I write a book, I get a TV show, I live my dreams, I meet my hero. Two old men on a beach. The South is not a monolith. There are pockets of weirdness, awesomeness, and then there's Charleston, where for some time now, important things have been happening with food. A lot of them having to do with this guy.
I took a walk through this beautiful world. Felt the cool rain on my shoulder. Found something good in this beautiful world. I felt the rain getting colder. Sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la.
What are we drinking? Beer? We bringing harder stuff? What's going on?
I usually go with a Budweiser and a Jägermeister.
Budweiser and a Jägermeister. So you're any notion of going local right out the window. Two Jägers? Yeah, two Jägers. Yeah. Cheers. Good
Cheers,
to see you
man.
again, man.
The first one's never good. The first one is never good. But it gets easier after the first one.
So look, this is not my first time to Charleston, as you know. I did do a show here before, and I'm still taking shit about it. Apparently, I really f***ed up the first time I came here because I made a number of errors. Apparently, none more egregious than going out for like doing an oyster roast and drinking champagne.
I've never heard of such a thing. Well, champagne of beers is okay with oysters.
See, that's what. It must have been a typo.
Maybe somebody got confused somewhere.
Yeah, anyway, I got it wrong. This time, I'm getting it right, which is why I've come to you.
could be forgiven for underestimating Shawn Brock first time you meet him. I know I did. I saw a scruffy-looking dude in a trucker cap who always seemed to have a bottle of really good bourbon on hand.
Stetzel Weller, 1991, 18 years old. This is the end of great whiskey. It didn't come in this bottle. This is my travel bottle because it's plastic, you see, so it don't break when you get rowdy.
It took me a little time to discover the ferocious intellect, the inquiring nature, the uniquely focused and purposeful talent of the man. Without a doubt, one of America's most important chefs. A guy who's redefining what not just Southern cooking is, was, and can be, but American cooking as a whole.
We're going to talk a lot about this over the next week, about the notions of universal awesomeness. Is the Waffle House universally awesome?
We have one choice for late night eating, and it's the Waffle House. And they create this environment where no matter how blitzed you are or how normal you are welcome and treated equally with an experience. It's not just like, you know, eating a plate of food.
You're talking about it like it's a magical spiritual place.
No, it's beyond a magical spiritual place.
It is indeed marvelous. An irony-free zone where everything is beautiful and nothing hurts. Where everybody, regardless of race, creed, color, or degree of inebriation, is welcomed. Its warm yellow glow, a beacon of hope and salvation, inviting the hungry, the lost, the seriously hammered, all across the South to come inside. A place of safety and nourishment. It never closes. It is always, always faithful, always there for you.
When I was a kid, I was obsessed with this place because I wanted to be a chef. And this is the only place I'd ever been to where I actually watched people cook. This was action to me, because I would see these people cooking at a pace and cooking for people who were completely out of control, but still providing hospitality. It was one of the things that really helped me fall in love with cooking.
Waffle House.
Yes,
I can't believe I didn't know about this.
I am unbelievably, in spite of my world travels, new to the wonders of the Waffle House and unfamiliar with its ways. The terminology, for instance, is new to me.
Now look, I'm looking at my hash brown, and I am already confused and enticed.
Here's the thing, you
Sausage
can't go all in, because you want everything.
I need to make a choice.
So there's a balance. And then when you find your balance, you memorize it. I go scattered, covered, smothered chunks.
Which means I gather scattered on the griddle, heaped with brown onions, cheese, and chunks of hickory smoked ham.
That's my style. Like, I've been doing that since day one. And I don't even know what that means.
You know what I know? I don't want waffles at the Waffle House.
Bullshit, man. You have to have...
Waffles?
Okay, you have to have pecan waffle. Now, so what I've devised as a chef is a tasting menu experience where you can sit down and really experience what this place does. And you start out, first thing you have, pecan waffle.
Really?
Right, gentlemen.
Oh, the pecan waffle. You just crush it. You put
Just slather it.
I want it to be swimming in syrup and homogenized vegetable oil.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
See, you don't come here expecting the French Laundry. You come here expecting something amazing.
This is better than the French Laundry, man.
And then, second course, patty melt, split. Patty melt. Come on. That's not insanely delicious.
Oh, god
Not
damn.
insanely delicious.
No meal is complete without sunny side up eggs.
Oh, yeah.
And then a green salad with some Thousand Island dressing would be amazing. Would you rather have thin cut pork chops or T-bone?
I would like both.
Heinz 57 is the best, man. One of the more complex sauces in the American repertoire.
Really?
You want to talk shit about it? This is sauce work. Trust me, this is gonna change your life.
No, that's wrong, man. Come on.
This was a brilliant human being who had a recipe that was amazing, and they got a bad rap.
You're talking about like Ronald McDonald. He had a good idea. No, you're wrong. I'm sorry. Here's where we part ways, my friend. Here's my sauce.
After a few bites of waffle, a burger, a hunk of generic T-bone, and some hash browns, one feels drawn right to the center of what makes our country great. An America yeah moment that drives me to clamber up on the counter and start reciting Walt Whitman, the Star-Spangled Banner, Oh Say Can You See, and you know what? I doubt I'd be the first.
Oh my
Give me a
God.
break.
The umami happened.
Yes, yeah, give me a break.
You know what umami means in Japanese? Actually, the literal translation of umami?
Orgasm?
No. Umami means, in Japanese, literally, it means, I will suck you for a bite of that burger.
You bite the pork chop.
Everybody needs a place, a community, something larger than oneself to care about, to be part of. A place to hide when times get tough, where you're accepted for who you are, where the rhythms of a summer afternoon, the crack of a bat, the roar of the crowd are music. Behold the mighty Charleston River Dogs, a minor league feeder team for the New York Yankees. Meet one of the owners of the Charleston River Dogs, Charleston resident Bill Murray.
Just said I'd had too many beers to drive. I'm gonna take shotgun.
We're gonna see how fast you can go all the way around the outfield.
Today, the River Dogs are facing the evil forces of the dreaded Savannah Sand Gnats.
Yow! That's gonna score a run, and that's gonna leave a mark. He's gonna hold him.
Bad day for the Sand Gnats.
You're hated. You're hated.
We will crush you like a, well, sand gnat.
A sand gnat has almost no backbone, almost no skeletal structure. They fold.
As difficult as it might have been to forego the joys of the bacon-wrapped foot-long corn dog known as the pig on a stick, we knew we'd be coming here. Husk, Shawn's restaurant in downtown Charleston, one of two that have helped make the city a fine dining destination.
So I want to know, Southern living, it's very different up there and down here. It's a big transition. Easy for you or not?
It's easy. The driving was the real transition because I drive like a New York person. And when you come here driving like New York, it takes you a while to recover. But, you know, I'm right on the edge here, like telling people that this is a really nice place to come. And really, I don't want anyone else to come. I like it the way it is. There's a lot of insects. It's really, really hot in the summer. And the traffic is worse than it ever was.
Husk directly addresses Southern culinary traditions using the best of modern techniques, but always, always respecting the originals and who made them.
It's a pressing matter to redefine Southern food. If I were a Southerner, I would make it a personal mission because it was distorted for so long. But as a Northerner, why should Northerners care?
Well, I think if you look at the history of food in America, well, there's no denying that Southern food was the first, true cuisine that had this foundation, and that's important to preserve. And to me, though, it kind of goes back to the idea of you should be cooking and preserving and celebrating the food of your grandmother.
People take a real pride in their ability to cook my aunt's recipe, my grandmother's recipe. Of this is how we made these, and the standard of food here is so high that when I go around any place, I just go, eh.
Country ham, bread and butter pickles, and of course, Shawn being Shawn, there will be bourbon.
I just like to start a meal with pickles and ham. I'll try not to geek out too much, but this is a very special breed of pig that came over here in the 1500s called Ossabaw. The Spaniards brought it. It has a very particular flavor. And this one's aged 3 years.
It's ridiculously good. That's the best American ham I've ever had,
Oh,
far
thank
away.
you.
That is unbelievable.
These two things together, these are my two favorite things in the whole entire world. Stitzelweller whiskey and old country ham. So this is an old dish that I dug up in one of those old books that I study. It's an old-fashioned oyster pie.
Ooh.
So just grab your spoon and just dig all the way down. The oysters are in the bottom.
How old is this recipe?
It was well documented in the 19th century, pre-Civil War.
That's good. Yes.
Oh, God.
So, shrimp and grits is the dish of Charleston. I mean, it really is. It's the dish I crave when I leave Charleston and come back. This version is one of the older ones where we actually make hominy first by nixtamalizing the corn. So you'll taste the grits are a little bit different.
Oh, yes. Oh, that's really great looking.
And then we make a brown gravy, which is the most classic way, and on top, crispy pig ears.
You get grannies coming and saying, I haven't tasted this since I was a little kid?
Yeah, exactly, man.
Wow, that's good.
We were trying to replicate the emotion of that the Southern food provides you in a time where good ingredients weren't available. So we made up for tasteless ingredients by frying them or dumping butter on them.
Right.
Now we don't have to.
Wow, what's going on here? This is an onslaught of awesomeness here.
We didn't order this.
So Hoppin' John, so pit beans that have been cooking over the fire all day. These are the red peas that came from West Africa. This is the original Carolina gold rice, hand harvested with Benny. Grilled whiting, which is what nobody eats in Charleston in restaurants, is what everybody eats in homes, with some spring vegetables. And then this is a suckling pig. That's the same breed, Ossabaw, as we had earlier with the ham, mixed with a mule foot, cooked on a spit, some cream corn and cornbread.
Wow.
So this is going to be my first mule foot.
But this is like my favorite way to eat, just family style, pass stuff around.
Oh, yeah. The rice is amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah. You see Bubba Gump. You get angry?
I get very angry.
For me, it's Chili's. Because you see Chili's along the Mexican border. It's like, what the? I'm sorry, do we have a shortage of Mexicans in this party? There's like a shortage of good food, and you're eating at Chili's? I really want to like pull up the car, get a tire iron, and walk in and just straighten some people out. You know?
Clean house. Roadhouse style.
Roadhouse, vastly underrated film.
You guys are both into Roadhouse?
Such a great film. Swayze, what else do you need to know? You can deconstruct this film forever. The more you watch it, the more mysteries unfold.
I've never seen anyone enjoy Roadhouse more than I do.
What?
My friend's wife, Kelly Lynch, plays the doctor that stitches up Patrick Swayze in the movie.
Yes.
She's the romantic interest, right? The unattainable romantic interest. And I have, for the last, I don't know, probably about 25 years, called his home in the middle of the night and said, "You don't know me, but your wife's getting slammed up against the wall by Patrick Swayze. She's not putting up much of a fight." And then hang up.
It is in many ways a perfect film.
It's a whiskey talking.
What is down-home Southern cooking? Where did it come from? Who's responsible? Well, it's always useful when asking those kinds of questions, wherever you are, to ask first, who did the cooking back then, in the beginning? Where did they come from?
When you meet people here, you know that you're seeing a direct descendant of a slave that was here after the slaves were freed.
Ashley Green grew up on Mosquito Beach on James Island in Charleston. Her mother owns the property, which has been in her family for generations. Fact of the matter is, in the Old South, back when the dishes, flavors, and ingredients of Southern cooking, which is to say American cooking as opposed to European, chances are that food was grown, gathered, produced, and prepared by African slaves. Chef BJ Dennis has made it a personal mission to celebrate and protect the culinary traditions his ancestors passed down to him.
So this is some local blue crab, just fresh in season. This is a play on some garlic crabs, but this is shrimp butter instead of the garlic butter. And then you have that play of, you know, the French influence into the cuisine right here.
The flavors and textures and foodways of West Africa are all over Southern cooking, and there are few better places to see how short the line between there and here than Gullah culture.
I'm really enjoying this, I gotta tell you.
This is so delicious.
Damn.
Oh my God.
How African is traditional Gullah cooking?
Well, I think what happens is you change the location of the people, but you did not change who the people were. You did not change the information that they came with their traditions.
If you look at the history of American food, you know, you'll quickly see that this is one of the first true cuisines of America.
Oh, what's that? What is this? This looks good.
We going back to West Africa.
All right.
Soft-shell crabs and conch in a decidedly West African-inflected peanut stew with Carolina rice, sautéed squash, and zucchini.
Oh, that's so good.
Man, it's been a while since I had conch.
Clearly, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Shawn, there's a different kind of interest in Charleston than existed 20 years ago, right? Is something happening here, and is it a good, what's changed?
So, I mean, it's good to have people to have a more diverse community in a sense, but then you also lose a little bit.
The danger is they're coming to Charleston because of the beauty, and we're having to fight against, you know, bigger entities that seek to get the land so that they can develop it. And so we're fighting to keep what's been ours. And so it's important for us to preserve this area, preserve this culture for generations to come.
Almost 50% of all the children in this country fail to get their recommended daily allowance of vitamins.
Fast food restaurants have discovered that we like our food heavily salted.
Just add water and 2 of your own fresh eggs.
Because of industry's innovations in farm chemicals and machinery. Taste it.
How did it happen that we ended up with Southern food being the most sort of cruelly hijacked into this cartoonish parody of itself?
Modern, clean, advanced, complete meat processing.
I think it's a combination of 2 massive cultural influences that came together at the same time. The idea of industrialization came late to the South. When it hit, we got pellagra. The first nutrition laws in America were written in South Carolina because everybody moved into mill villages and immediately started eating processed food because they weren't growing their food anymore. The second thing that happened is there was a massive amount of expertise that was lost during the Civil War.
A lot of the Southern revival, the whole turnaround, started with this guy, Glenn Roberts, a man who asked a simple question: how come grits aren't as good as they used to be? And by starting the heirloom grain company, Anson Mills decided to do something about it.
So why do this? Why do something as unwanted? Meaning nobody was particularly crying after. You know, we need rice that used to taste like it did in 1837. We need grits, better grits. What called to you that you felt compelled to answer?
I'm a cuisine whore. You know, I think that culture is interactive with cuisine. As soon as you look at cuisine, you're looking at politics, you're looking at medicine, you're looking at the advanced thinking.
I'll agree with you that there's nothing more political than food.
You got it.
Chef Mike Lotta's restaurant Fig was one of the first and most important on the Charleston scene, determined to source the kind of local products that you used to find everywhere in the Low Country. As much as I'd like to illustrate that solid grounding in traditional ingredients and preparations with my order, I could not resist the soft-shell crabs, which are just in season, with a pasta and shaved botarga, which frankly, I'd slit my best friend's throat for.
Wow, that looks great.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Sweet. When you had your first forkful of proper rice, is there an instinct to go out and sort of bludgeon the rest of the world in it, understanding what you have just come to understand?
I did not run up and down the streets of Charleston. It was tough to dislodge people here. So I just went straight to San Francisco,
right,
and I gave away tons of product. And guess what? They went crazy.
Slow-baked black bass, Anson Mills farro, ramps in season, and lettuces. And this ode to all things Glenn is responsible for bringing back: heirloom rice and peas, suckling Ossabaw pig, and chicken confit with Carolina gold rice.
Oh, that's good.
Isn't that great? This is phenomenal. These peas are killer.
I'm hitting the rice next.
That's got the entire history of Southern agriculture in it.
Right here.
Right there, in that little bowl. This whole idea of having a century in a dish, none of this stuff was here 20 years ago.
Near the end of the Civil War, during General Sherman's Scorched Earth campaign, seed stores were a favored target. It was largely African slaves who were able to save the seeds that Glenn is now able to locate and reintroduce.
It is those people who kept the corn. It is those people who kept the cowpeas. It's those people who kept the vegetables because they couldn't buy their way out of not doing it.
You know, when you talk about chitlins, pigfoot, hog maws, African Americans in the North do not embrace those poor people classics of the South. There's an overlay of pain and oppression that goes with it. How do we combat that?
What you're speaking about is walking away from your own culinary heritage because of social sensitivity. Bottom line is, if you want something that's compelling, that draws on your soul, this is why they call it soul food.
I need the finest in turkey-killing couture. I'm going to be ninja-like, and I want to look cool.
Well, you know, camouflage is the standard go out where in South Carolina, so.
I'm bringing that look to New York.
A cool, clear morning, and I do what any sensible Charlestonian would do on a day like this. Look for turkeys to kill.
So pants, need those.
All right. You know, in South Carolina, our state bird is the mosquito.
Right, so I want to be covered head to toe.
Next thing, we need to get your face covered up.
I'm going in a Waffle House wearing this. This is totally me.
We do have some turkey vests.
A turkey vest, yes. I've got to have it. This is your last day on Earth, Mr. Turkey. You will die now. Prepare to meet your maker.
Here's the thing about hunting. The likelihood of me successfully shooting even the stupidest animal on camera are about the same as Donald Trump being gracious to anybody or Adam Sandler making a good movie. Basically, a magical unicorn is going to land in front of me and shower me with candy and Vicodins before I shoot a freaking turkey on camera. That shot you heard was me shooting a producer in the calf and telling him to hobble over to the Piggly Wiggly for a frozen gobbler before he bleeds out. And like magic, behold, turkey. Slow, slow barbecue turkey with all the sides you want and need.
What do we got going on here, Chef?
Pig's feet and collard greens.
Oh,
Pickled
damn.
pig's feet and collard greens.
Oh, yes.
And then barbecue coleslaw, some potato salad with ramps, baked red peas.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's my weakness right there.
And we made you some very special
Mac and cheese.
orange mac and cheese.
I do love bright orange mac and cheese, as you know. And that's a turkey.
Yep.
Let that be a lesson to you.
Like going to Grandma's house.
Mike Lotta from Fig is here, and Jeff Allen, owner of Rebellion Farm.
So at this point, how many others are there like you guys, like who are basically keeping it real as far as real Southern culinary traditions as opposed to sort of the jokey ones?
I feel like just about everybody here is.
More than you would think.
Well, how many people is that?
12.
Yeah, in a town like this, that's pretty amazing.
God damn, this is good. Pig's feet and green, it's just ridiculously good.
This is really moist for a wild turkey.
Like people who say they don't like turkey need to eat this.
So what's your impression of Charleston?
It's it's one of those weird or distinctly American mutations, kind of like rock and roll or jazz or blues.
That's what makes Charleston so cool, though. There's really nothing else like it in America. And it's been unique since the early part of the 18th century. And the city works hard to preserve that. We have an incredibly gorgeous city that people want to visit, so we have the advantage of tourism.
The clientele definitely gives us the opportunity to be this progressive or
They almost
relevant.
push us to be more than we can even be.
We have an active cuisine. I mean, we've recovered all these, ingredients and rediscovered a lot of the agricultural influences that were destroyed in the 20th century. But we're not just recreating history. We're not going back and cooking the Civil War. These guys are pushing the food forward here, and we're creating a new cuisine.
It's got to be a happy day when you take a Caesar off the menu forever.
Yeah, man.
I'm going to get some more of that mac and cheese in a minute.
Hell yeah.
We're one of the last few hunters in the world. There's no store for us to go offshore to go and pick those fish up. We have to look for them. We have to go and sort of find the ones we're allowed to harvest. We are the last of the final frontier of hunters, to go in and to feed the world. And that's what we do.
Mark Marhefka has been a fisherman since the 70s. He takes an unusual and much-needed approach to catching fish. Instead of raking the sea of the same overfished, mindlessly popular species, he passionately promotes the just as good and usually better, less known and underutilized stuff.
But one of the great things about The Low Country is the flavor of our waterways, and that wasn't being represented properly in all the restaurants. Then all of a sudden, I hear about this guy who has the most beautiful fish you've ever seen, but you got to go to the dock and get it.
Frustrated by the conventional wisdom, by the mishandling of fish by other distributors, and the narrow range available on the market, he became his own dealer, starting Abundance Seafood, one of the country's first CSFs, or community-supported fisheries. He's changed the way people think about so-called trash fish.
Look at how beautiful that is.
Today's catch, triggerfish.
Any market for these things?
Oh my God.
Yeah?
Well, we can't go and keep it in-house enough.
No, really?
Really.
The crazy thing is, it's like, even 5 years ago, there wasn't a single one of these on the menu. Before we all knew Mark, everyone had the same crap on the menus: tuna, salmon, grouper, snapper, which is delicious stuff, but as we all know, we've overfished that. And Mark really taught all of us the beauty of stuff like this.
Nice.
This is a half-shell style, so you just leave the scale on, the skin on,
Right.
and just cook it one side up. Oh.
It's sort of basting itself.
Yeah. Makes like a cup. It's very Creole.
Is there something out there that you're seeing that's still a hard sell that you wish people would
One of the
jump?
hardest sells is amberjack.
Amberjack for sure.
Amberjack.
The Japanese love it.
Yeah.
Amberjack. Ooh, look at that. That is pretty. Smells good.
Wow. Yum.
Oh, man.
I could eat that 365 days.
Ah, charcoal and fish.
Yeah,
Man.
I know.
That's so
I know.
good.
Damn, that's good.
Wow. Everybody thinks there's all this great barbecue in the South. It's 99% terrible barbecue. And so to get real barbecue, you gotta drive.
Way out in the weeds, off the main road, and good freaking luck if you could find it, is one of the most respected barbecue joints in the US of A. Run by one of the most respected old-school pitmasters. Ask a chef. Ask anybody who knows good barbecue, and they will tell you where to go. Here, a rundown-looking takeout about 2 hours drive out of Charleston in Hemingway, South Carolina.
Now, how long have you been doing this?
Since I was 11. Grew up doing this.
Crazy.
My family started in 1972, so I grew up running around this place.
It's hard.
It is.
That's why no one does it, man. That's why there's nothing but bad barbecue. Because in my opinion, the only true way to make barbecue is the burn barrel and pits, and you gotta stay up all night.
All night.
Rodney Scott, a man sought after all over the world for some of the finest whole hog barbecue there is. Rodney and his family have been doing it like this and only like this for 43 years. Burn barrel, fresh coals, slow cooked all night in the pit. There are no shortcuts. This ain't a craft, this is a calling.
Look at that.
Yes.
Oh, man.
You gotta have a little bit of white bread with it.
Yeah,
At least
no
a little
doubt.
bit of white.
Yeah, see, this is what everybody always gets wrong in New York. They serve cornbread with barbecue, which of course falls into crumbles. You can't. You gotta have that.
Look at that. This is what we call pork spaghetti.
Gotta have some of that.
Man, that sauce is nice too. It's perfect, right?
Vinegar and pepper.
Yeah, it's so good.
That's my dad's recipe.
But do you do not the standard South Carolina mustard dressing at all? I'm sure people are gonna be pissed at me about this because people feel strongly about these things, but I was not liking that mustard thing.
Around here, you scream mustard, they'll think it's going on a hot dog. It's the only thing they know about mustard here.
Oh, good. Oh, man, that's just so good. Now, how many hours about that pig is cooking?
12 hours.
About 12.
You have to love it. You have to be head over heels in love with it to do that every day. I mean, you ever get sick of eating barbecue?
No, not yet. Not yet.
So we're all gonna be rolling out of here with the Rodney Scott cologne on.
What are we fishing for here?
Well, out here we've got spot-tail bass, flounder, sea trout.
Really?
Yeah.
Woohoo, watch out there. I got you.
Yeah, and the way you fish here, the idea is just throw it out as far as you can, and then you just leave it.
Oh, just leave it.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about fishing out here.
Oh, good. So I don't have to be working. There's not so much skill involved. So how am I doing in the learning to be a redneck department? Not wearing shoes.
You're looking good right now without shoes on, a fishing pole in your hand on a dock. That's pretty awesome. It's a different pace here, man. You know, this is the way to live.
I do enjoy it. Love that Waffle House, man. I need a Waffle House. I'm trying to tell you, that was like a... I like your restaurant and all. I guess you're some kind of good chef, but that Waffle House,
Man, I'm telling
that
you.
is a phenomenon.
It really is. It's good with boiled peanuts and whiskey.
Oh, yeah? That's good. Oh,
So
that is
good,
nice.
man. It's so good. How's visit to Charleston?
Oh, it's been great. This is a special place. It really is.
Well, it's very unique. It's been a lot of fun to watch the food scene here go from kind of what everybody else is doing and was doing to doing something very singular, very special.
And when you got a tradition and when you have tradition and recipes and a story behind food like you have here, that's a really cool thing.
Well, the thing is I'm still discovering stuff here. I've been here 12 years.
Oh, that barbecue that Rodney gave us was sick, man.
He is a force to be reckoned with, man. Like, you know, you talk about Europe, everybody travels hours to go to El Bulli or travels hours by car to go to Michel Bras. It's the same thing here. We just do it from barbecue. Got a hit?
I don't know. Let's see. Yeah.
You did. It bit right below the hook.
Yeah. So that's an intelligent mother fish too. Big and intelligent.
So just hook up under the bottom lip.
Ouch. Oh. Open. Open up, mother. Whoa, he's up my legs. Because that's anal-seeking bait. Where do you think you're going, buddy? It's like one of those it's like one of those anal-seeking those fish in the Amazon that swim up your coal. Yeah, nice try, buddy.
It's quiet on the river this morning. Ain't nobody on the water but me. But the sun's coming on and it won't be long, but there's a little more weight coming in this creek. I put the line out in the water.
Who doesn't want to end with this? The old fishing hole. Quality bourbon, no need for shoes.
I think the crabs are down there just having a minnow buffet.
In such circumstances, whether you actually catch any fish is completely beside the point.
Come on, man, not bad for a Yankee.
Good, man. Better than my last cast.
Making noise with the alligator boys, 20 miles east of Goshen.
Some people must live in great spaces, where the sky goes on forever, where everyone must bend to the land, where to hunt, to fish, to sleep under that big sky aren't activities, but a way of life.
It was between here and those mountains that Cheyenne and Crow battle took place. But I like it. It's very peaceful, huh?
What was it like 100 years ago? 200 years ago?
Oh, not much different. This was never forested. This is the dry side of the river because the primary winds come from the west. Rain tends to blow over here. That brings the snow to the mountains.
Legendary writer and poet Jim Harrison is one of those people. And this is his home.
I took a walk through this beautiful world. Felt the cool rain on my shoulder. Found something good in this beautiful world. I felt the rain getting colder. Sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la.
Am I as old as I am? Maybe not. Time is a mystery that could tip us upside down. Yesterday, I was 7 in the woods. A bandage covered my blind eye. 68 years later, I could still inhabit that boy's body without thinking of the time in between. It is the burden of life to be many ages without seeing the end of time.
Next time you turn off a news cycle filled with shouting bobbleheads, convinced that America is devolving into a moronic inferno, questioning the greatness of your nation, maybe you should come here. Here are your Purple Mountains' majesty. This is the landscape that generations of dreamers, despots, adventurers, explorers, crackpots, and heroes fought and died for. It's one of the most beautiful places on Earth. There is no place like it. Montana. Many have come to claim their peace over the years, but before the prospectors and explorers, there were the Plains Indians. The Absaraka have been master horsemen since they adopted Spanish-introduced Mustangs in the 18th century.
General Blackjack Pershing, he called the Native Americans the centaurs of the plains.
Better known as the Crow, they were once part of the larger Hidatsa tribe. Centuries ago, they split off on their own and wandered or were pushed by conflict with the Blackfeet, Cheyenne, and Dakota until settling here in the Yellowstone River Valley.
That horse became everything to our people.
Kennard Reelbird grew up ranching and raising horses here at Medicine Tail Coulee, which happens to be the exact spot where General George Custer had the worst day of his life. Kennard raises horses for rodeo, for riding, and for this, Indian relay racing.
The athletic ability on them kids are just amazing. The competition is intense.
They travel all over to compete at this collarbone-smashing, skull-cracking, bone-snappingly dangerous sport. Former allies and former blood enemies alike.
Requires a lot of courage.
I'll bet.
And a high threshold for pain. It's representative of warrior mentality.
One rider, 3 horses.
When they're lined up, gun goes off. It's like a spontaneous combustion.
Top speed is around 40 miles an hour. And after each lap, the rider dismounts at full freaking gallop and leaps, hopefully, onto the next horse. Yes, it's as dangerous and difficult as it looks. The prizes at big events run into the thousands of dollars, but really, it's about bragging rights. And pride.
Being in motion, in rhythm, in time, and in one with that horse, you develop strength of character. And once they conquer that fear, that feeling of accomplishment is so great, When they walk back from that race, they have this sense of pride and self-worth is sky high. Now they've identified with their ancestors.
Ken's wife, Diane, has prepared a lunch of buffalo steaks, potato salad, fry bread, and Indian pudding made of Juneberry stewed with flour and sugar.
When I looked at my ancestors, they didn't have diabetes, they didn't have much cancer. They were very strong, durable people. And I said, well, I'm going to start eating nothing but buffalo.
Over the course of your life, how much has this area changed?
Quite a bit. We went and picked up a four-wheeler last Sunday, be the first four-wheeler on the place.
Given those changes, what are the Crow people going to be doing in 20 years, 30 years? The horse going to play an important part in the culture still?
I think so, yeah, because what's a place going to be like without horses? I wouldn't want to be there.
Who owns this land? Can anyone really own it? Who gets to use it? These are big questions that cut across traditional ideological lines out here, where they have real meaning, not theoretical meaning. All this belongs to one man, this guy, Bill Galt.
Okay, we're about a half mile from the confluence of Rock Creek and the Smith River.
Galt Ranch is 100,000 acres of grazing land, mountains, cliffs, and valleys. There's also some of the best trout fishing on the planet.
Bill, the water level on the creek looks good.
This is Bill's friend, the author and journalist David McCumber. They disagree on land use, a major issue. Remember when you could do that and still be friends? Lee Kinsey is a professional outfitter who Bill leases some areas of his property to for fishing.
All this to outwit a fish.
I know.
It's amazing.
All right, go ahead. Stop that tip high. Throw that thing straight up in the air. Good, perfect.
Bill's a fifth-generation Montanan whose principal business is raising cattle. He's no weekend cowboy. This is work, and he pays a lot of attention to his land. And a big issue for him, for just about everybody around here, is the 1985 Stream Access Law.
Anybody that could access a stream via a public means could in fact use the stream, even if it was on private ground, as long as they stayed within the ordinary high water mark of the stream.
Widely heralded by sportsmen and outdoor enthusiasts, the law did not go down well with landowners like Bill.
Oh, got him. Something took a bite.
Yep. He's still got a fish right in there, too.
Oh, I see him.
Perfect. Hoop, set. Whoa! The fish of the day. Nice brownie.
All right.
Woo!
Beautiful thing.
That's pretty. But I will not eat you today, my friend. Not today.
For lunch, a modest protein-centric repast of steak, a Wagyu Angus hybrid bred and raised right here on Bill's ranch.
There's the marbling and a Wagyu steak. That's what makes them good.
Oh, that's nice.
And it's pretty damn tasty, I can tell you.
So you hold an opposing view, is that correct, on access?
The idea behind the stream access law, that if you stay in the water, it's public. I agree with that concept.
But where do you draw the line for private property rights? State were to pass a law that your restroom was public because the public needed it in your house.
Right.
But just because this isn't my backyard doesn't mean it's any less mine than your toilet is yours. We still pay taxes on every foot of it.
I'm an old school lefty, but I gotta say, I kind of completely understand the property owner's point of view here. There'd be no ambiguity in my feeling if I'd inherited this land, it had been in my family for generations, and I looked around at it and wanted to keep it like it is. If I were to go to a bar in town, and I would ask, how do you feel about this issue? Where would it break? What would most people say?
If you're a fisherman or a landowner?
Clearly divided right down the middle.
But, a lot of people are going to say, when I was a kid, I used to be able to go hunt and fish, and I can't now. Stuff's getting closed off. I have some sympathy for that.
Anybody that's not complying with stream access merely has to step into the stream when he hears you coming.
Right.
The spirit of it makes sense.
The spirit of it's thievery. We own it, and they took it, and that's not stealing it. Without compensation.
I think it's still here.
This is about being a good neighbor, right? Yeah. I mean, so if people ask nicely more often than not, you're going to say yes?
We do. Used to be, before stream access, we seldom required somebody to have permission if they just behaved themselves. after stream access is when the outfitters came into the world. Not because we wanted to make money, but we wanted somebody there patrolling and policing it. The outfitters take care of it.
A small stream like this can only take so much pressure.
It really can.
And so we try to manage it, fish it responsibly. And if somebody wants to walk all the way from the Smith 5 miles up to here and do it legally, I say all the more power to them.
That's what I'm saying.
At first look, you'd think this is the worst place on Earth. A ravaged, toxic, God-forsaken hill, threatened from above, riddled with darkness below. But you'd be wrong. Butte, Montana. It is in fact heartbreakingly, poignantly beautiful. The Gallus frames seem eyesores for only a second before it becomes clear why they're points of fierce pride for locals, for whom they signify and commemorate everything.
For Montanans, many people consider it sort of a black eye. I happen to think it's sort of the essence of Montana.
Aaron Perrette was born in Butte. He's a professor of literature and a chronicler of the city's colorful literary history.
There is something beautiful about this city, right?
Yeah, the enduring decay.
Like in Detroit or a Buffalo or Cleveland, you can see the aspirations of the builders or the people who they were building for.
As I've gotten older, I kind of think about it the way Europeans romanticize those ruins in Greece and Rome. Butte is America's Acropolis.
In its heyday, Butte produced tens of billions of dollars worth of copper that built, well, America, that helped power the country, defend it against Germany and Japan. Without this hill, no copper wire, no electricity. At the turn of the century, Marcus Daly's Amalgamated Company consumed its competitors and became Anaconda Copper. By the 20s, the company, as it was referred to, was one of the largest corporations in America, generating staggering wealth by today's or any day's standards. People came from all over the world to make their fortunes here or simply for steady work, a better life.
Cornish, Welsh, a lot of Eastern Europeans.
Croatians, Serbs, very ethnically diverse.
By Montana standards or by any standard?
I would say by any standards, that's kind of a micro version of New York City.
Meaderville was an Italian neighborhood and developed a tradition of supper clubs. Lydia's was opened in 1946 by Lydia Micheletti in the 4 Mile, the valley below Butte.
So what is a supper club? I've heard about this tradition, but I don't really understand what distinguishes a supper club from a restaurant.
At least in Montana, the supper clubs are a variation on Meaderville style. It involves this antipasto beginning.
Sliced meats, sweet potato salad, salami and cheese, side salad, pickled peppers, and breadsticks.
Then when you actually get your entree, you get, oddly enough, ravioli or spaghetti, or here, both, but also French fries.
Odd.
That may be unique to Montana.
For entrees, seared scallops and white wine sauce for Aaron. Me, noticing we're pretty much landlocked around here, I go for the extra thick tenderloin of beef, thank you very much.
This is wacky. It makes no sense.
It is somewhat bizarre to have scallops and French fries.
Yeah. Meaderville no longer around.
No, it's not. It was swallowed up by the pit in the early 60s.
For the first 70 years, it was hard rock mining, blasting and digging tunnels deep into the ground. By the 1950s, mining was moving increasingly to above ground, open pit, which meant fewer jobs and a bigger, more visible footprint. By 1955, the Berkeley pit had become the largest open pit copper mine in the world. As it expanded, it devoured Meaderville and surrounding neighborhoods. There was money down there to be dug out of the ground, and that's what Butte had always been about from the beginning. In 1983, the pumps that held back the groundwater from thousands of miles of tunnels beneath the city were turned off. The pit filled with 30 billion gallons of water. And as mine tailings and mineral refuse contaminated the water, it became a giant, insanely toxic lake of sulfuric acid. A monument to greed and heedless exploitation of the earth, and something eerily, if tragically beautiful.
If you're still living here, you've got to have some kind of weird, perverse pride in the pit.
Absolutely.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you nailed it. Obviously, the pit is an enduring emblem of that rapacious capitalist greed, but you also have people here who are proud of where they live. And the history of Butte, in many ways, is, you know, this town that should have died, but never did. Part of that is luck, geographically, but also the character of the people here. You know, they endured.
As you might have gathered by now, this is a working-class town, and unusual in that it's a union town, a proudly union town in an otherwise very red state.
Butte is the most interesting, important town in America that nobody knows about.
Bryant McGregor is the owner of the Silver Dollar Saloon in what was once Butte's Chinatown.
So we call ourselves Butte America.
Amanda Curtis, a former state congresswoman, was born of the labor movement. She's a unionist, an advocate for workers, and this solidly union city she calls home.
When you got off the boat in Ellis Island, it said Butte pinned to your shirt. And it wasn't Butte, Montana, right? It was Butte America. We were founded by European immigrants who came from socialist countries with all of these crazy socialist ideas.
Would you say Montana, in a stereotypical way, is relatively socially conservative?
Oh, absolutely. But Butte is a labor town.
Nobody knows anything about union history. You know, they don't teach it. When the country was at its peak, unions were at their peak. When wages were at their peak, unions were at their peak.
That was then. This is now. This is the era of I got mine, Jack.
That's what makes Butte different. It's not a, I've got mine.
It isn't.
It's
Why?
Truly not. Union is together. We've grown this community out of taking care of each other.
You have to remember what it was like here for workers before unions, if you can imagine. Men worked underground for as little as $3 a day. 10 to 12-hour shifts, 6 days a week. Thousands died over the years in industrial accidents or from silicosis, lungs ravaged by the airborne silica dust.
You don't have any rights in your workplace unless you bond together and have a collective voice.
In a one-company town, despite hiring assassins and strikebreakers, Butte's thousands of workers successfully managed to unionize. Labor costs increased while copper prices slumped. Anaconda responded by moving their production increasingly south, way south, to Chile, where such impediments as labor laws and fair wages were more malleable.
We serve as the example about what happens if you allow unfettered capitalism.
But isn't there something beautiful about unfettered capitalism? Because look, this structure here.
We powered the entire world.
As long as they're making that money in the goddamn United States of America first.
Right.
I feel I'm a patriot. And if you're taking jobs away from America to export them overseas.
You're not.
You're not.
And we've been talking about this for decades in this country, right? Or keep our jobs here.
Yeah.
Time sinks slowly to the deepest part of the ocean, the Mariana Trench. She's tired of light, and there it's pure black.
They say that Butte is a mile high and a mile deep, and to get an idea of what they mean, you've got to go down deep into the hill. An intricate warren of tunnels riddled through the rock and soil that lay beneath the city was flooded forever by water and darkness. The Orphan Boy Mine is one of the few remaining hard rock mines in the city. Today, it serves as a training facility for the Montana Tech School of Mines and Engineering.
There's 5 generations of mining here. In order to survive and provide the resources for America, these people were super skillful.
Jim Keene is a state senator and labor advocate who grew up working the mines of Butte.
How many miles of tunnel under Butte total?
10,000 miles of tunnels.
10,000 miles.
And I've
like
figured,
this.
Like this. Only smaller, usually.
Larry Hoffman is a longtime mining engineer and instructor. Matt Krattinger is the new guy. A hard rock miner by day, he likes to relax by spending his free time down here, playing.
I come mining for fun on my days off.
Okay.
It's one of those things that just gets in your blood. You got a lot of pride in it.
These guys like it underground. And even more, they seem to like drilling holes deep into the rock face.
You want to drill?
Sure.
Pull that out. Now you get to feel where the weight's at on it.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
You do that several hundred times a day. No. It gets good.
Sweet.
The community recognized the miner was at the top of the food chain. When I grew up, he was considered just like a doctor or a lawyer because everybody knew he was the one making everything work. The other thing about mining is it's so intensive. I mean, you need engineers, you need guys running ventilation, mechanic or a carpenter or a pipe fitter. It's just such a diverse asset to have all these different types of people. That's what was so good about it.
Mining was always dangerous, but these men are proud of what they do and of the generations who came before them, who built neighborhoods and schools and helped power the nation.
They loved their work. They raised their families. They worked all the time.
It was a destination with hopes and dreams of hard work leading to a better life.
You know, the company's a son of a bitch, let's face it, but they were our son of a bitch. So you know, that's just the way it was. The community worked to support the people. Here's the fun part.
Cool.
Well, how many holes do you usually drill
Oh,
to make a round?
Between 20 and 30.
What is a round?
This pattern has to be drilled out. And every time you advance the face, that is a round. You drill it, you load it, you blast it, you muck it, you bolt it, you drill it again. And that's a cycle. We're in the loading process right here. They call collar priming or top priming this hole. Quit, still away.
Back in the day, it was dynamite. But in the 60s, they started switching over to this stuff: ANFO, ammonium nitrate, and fuel oil.
Okay, so we got everything charged up, loaded. Now we get to time it. This is kind of where I got hooked on mining. As soon as I set that first round off, it was, how do we do another one?
Dude, fascinating.
This is where it all starts.
All right.
Right here.
Everybody got everything out?
Four seconds of silence. All right, everybody's good? Everybody's ready?
Yep.
All right. Fire in the hole!
One, two, three.
That's deep.
Welcome to mining.
That's deeply satisfying. Oh, yeah. Very cool.
Can we see the smoke?
What is that, vented out?
Yeah, the smoke will start moving towards us. You gotta get in the smoke.
Oh, yeah. Smells like victory.
This is the smell of mining.
We'll see if it all works as planned.
That shockwave is awesome.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
This is like being an astronaut right now. You're gonna go in there and you're gonna be the first person in the world to see what you're seeing. Right.
Did you break it?
Yeah.
Nice, huh? Happy with your work?
I'm very happy with it. Everything came out just the way it should.
Well, that's another 6-foot advance.
And that is a round.
Beautiful thing.
Yes, it is.
I fell in love with the dark and the blowing things up and the people.
The people's a big thing. You meet some of the most interesting people.
About 1/3 of Montana is public land. It was set aside for the people of the United States of America. Generally speaking, it is intended for multi-purpose use: timber harvest, grazing land, hiking, fishing, hunting, and mining. These open lands are important to hunters and anglers like Dan Bailey. He's the Montana representative for Pheasants Forever, an organization working to conserve pheasants and other wildlife through careful management.
So this is a piece of property that's owned by Pheasants Forever. It's open to public access. This is through Montana's block management system. We sign in, they collect all the tags, they know who's on the property.
Today, me and my friend Joe Rogan are going after some delicious pheasant for dinner.
Yeehaw, ladies and gentlemen.
Joe is, of course, the voice of the UFC and the host of the wildly popular podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience. In recent years, Joe has become an advocate for the notion that you should, whenever possible, know where your food comes from.
The connection that you have with your food when you kill it yourself, it's a totally different experience.
I believe that if you choose to eat meat, that there should be a little bit of guilt and shame involved. Something did die. So there should be a sense of loss and an understanding.
Right here, this is it. I mean, you know where your food comes from. That's the smallest circles you can get. Hey, Tony, the three things we can hunt here are Hungarian partridge, which is a small bird in the big covey, sharp-tailed grouse, and then rooster pheasants. So no hen pheasants. I'll call out what it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait for you, because I sure as hell wouldn't be able to identify them.
So we'll get one person on one side of the jaw, one person on the other, and I'll run the dogs through the middle.
Which way they're gonna break, do you think? Anyway, could be any.
Any which way. We're hoping over us. Hen, 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 hen.
What happens if you accidentally shoot a hen? You get in trouble?
For yourself.
You've heard about the walk of shame? So really, you have a split second to determine whether it's a shootable bird thing. Okay, well, we're counting on you.
That's a rooster.
I got a shot at that, too. That was an easy shot. Shit.
Some days.
Yeah, one of those days, huh?
Public lands in Montana, we're fortunate we have a lot of them, but, they get a lot of pressure, and so when you get one of these birds, it's pretty special.
Public land hunting is always a lot of work.
In general, anybody and everybody can come out here and chase your birds, so. There's a bunch of birds right there.
Yeah.
See them going through the trees there?
I saw.
A bunch of pheasants just got up. Let's get serious about this.
All right.
We'll take these dogs to the river. Rooster! Oh, nice shot. Dead bird. Gotta get up on that bank.
Who got it?
Anthony got it.
Nice. I missed that one over here.
Good boy. Come, bring it here. Come on. Good boy. Come on, Junger. Nice shot.
Thank you.
Bring it here. Come on. Drop. There you go. Montana rooster.
Good eating.
Bird.
All right, man. Start plucking.
With one in the bag, we meet up with the rest of our party to cook and drink and eat. Lan Tawney is a fifth-generation Montanan and an active conservationist. Hal Herring is a journalist for Field and Stream. The pheasant is cooked two ways: marinated in soy and fish sauce, sriracha and lime, browned in butter, and buffaloed like chicken wings, or dredged in flour and Cajun spice, sautéed with garlic and brandy, then braised a bit with stock and wild mushrooms. Collard greens and bacon as a side serve as a nice cleanse.
Man, these greens are good. And the bird's delicious. Oh, yeah. Man, amazing day.
Eating it today.
It was beautiful today.
Why should people in New York or San Francisco who've never hunted, in what way does your access to hunting ground impact on this nation in a positive way? Why should they care?
Well, it's not hunting ground. It's public ground. It's owned by the people of the United States of America.
And I just see our country, it's very nuanced. And private property is bedrock. But public lands have worked.
But you're talking big government stepping in and saying, we're taking all this land and we're going to protect it from exploitation by capitalists.
Public land management is not perfect for anybody, but it's a path forward. It's not happening anywhere else in the world. And the reason that it came here is because we are such a great country. But as we move into the future, it's going to take everybody understanding how unique it is to America.
To say that hunting and conservation are intertwined
is an absolute fact.
It is an absolute fact, but it is a really painful admission that we are the masters of this environment, whether we like it or not.
As thinking beings, we're the only ones in the food chain that understand the consequences of the imbalance. And therefore, we do have a right to take care of this thing and manage it. When it comes to animals that can alter their environment, we're unique.
You know, I'm not a hunter, obviously.
We hunted all day today. If you take a shit, you're a shitter.
I don't... My daddy didn't take me for the long
That's
one.
what it is.
You shot that pheasant, we're eating that pheasant. There's no closer connection to food almost than that.
I think there's a fundamental misunderstanding by people that don't hunt or people that call themselves animal activists that we don't love the animals as much as they do. And that's just not true.
We do what we do because we love Mother Nature, we love wildlife, we want people to enjoy it. You know, three of us, we have decided to spend what we do for a living to protect wildlife and to protect access and to protect hunting heritage.
They're fellow living beings that live in a very hard scrabble life. They're howling right now because they killed something, whatever it is. They're letting all the other coyotes know, and they're gonna eat it right now, and that is what they do.
You know, have you ever been out on an open body of water where you're just surrounded by the ocean or the desert? Or here, actually, for that matter.
Right.
You do begin to understand your place in the universe, meaning at the end of the day, I'm not that different from that pheasant I shot today.
We're all in it together. The elk and me and the wolves, what we do to the world, we do to ourselves. We're all in it together.
As the evening progresses, the bourbon flows and the fire burns down to coals. A late-night vape with Joe, and the earth seems to shift on its axis. Later, stumbling out of my tent, I find myself somehow no longer vertical, looking up at a magnificent bewilderment of stars. Livingston, Montana may be one of the prettiest and oddest towns in America. It's also one of my favorites. Originally a railroad town, a place where cattlemen could drink and philander. Then later, a gateway to Yellowstone National Park. In the 1960s, the surrounding Paradise Valley was a popular setting for Hollywood films, and local ranchers began to see a strange mix of creative types showing up. First to work on films, but later to stay and play cowboy for real. Writers like Richard Brautigan, Tom McGuane, and Jim Harrison. Actors like Peter Fonda, Warren Oates, the notorious director Sam Peckinpah made Livingston their home. The Mint Bar opened in the 1920s and holds the oldest liquor license in Montana. Railroad workers used to drink here. Everybody drank here.
Look at that picture of the bar right there.
Yeah, that picture is this building during Prohibition. It was a grocery store.
My friend Dan Laron is a jack-of-all-trades native son, a hunter, fisherman, and a key figure in the life of the town.
I mean, this is a rough and tumble railroad cattleman town, right?
Yeah.
Why did they put a railroad stop here?
It was X far from Minneapolis and X far to Seattle. It was kind of middle ground, 700 miles that way, 700 miles that way.
Right. Who would exemplify the qualities that a preponderance of Montanans would aspire to?
The American Indian, the Plains Indian that lived here before white man, because it was a tough place to live. You know?
When's the last time you walked outside and you looked at those mountains and you said, I possibly live in the most awesome place on earth? When was the last time that happened?
I do. I never take this place for granted. Okay, it's one of the most beautiful places that I've been, and I like to enjoy the outdoors. Take my son hunting.
Right.
You know.
You know that moment when an animal dies and they look at you and there's a look in their face, I always interpret it as, I'm very disappointed in you.
Yeah. Well, as an older hunter, I'm feeling more and more remorse for the animals that I kill. And that's why I use every part of the animal that I can. I have respect for that creature.
I always felt like, look, whatever this thing I shot, I will treat it the way I would like to be treated. I mean, you're gonna shoot me. Please, don't just leave me there.
Yeah, don't just rip my breasts out and throw my ass away.
Yeah, that's a country music song right there. Don't rip my breasts out.
Time. She prepared us drifting through our lives like clouds, riding her like the gentlest of horses. You know, if you're seeing northern lights and a thunderstorm in the east and wolves howling all at once, it's sort of nice. Do you know there are 90 billion galaxies? I get a little tentative when I hear that.
Jim Harrison is a colossus, a legend, and the last of his kind.
People forget children grow up making up stories, and that's all I'm doing as an adult, you know?
He is one of America's greatest poets. The author of 39 novels and books, many set in Montana, including The Legends of the Fall. He's a screenwriter and gourmet. In his food memoir, The Raw and the Cooked, he chronicles many, many epic meals. He has lived a life that can only be imagined. Dan is his friend and confidant, and the two have for years hunted and fished together.
Here's to the game.
His health prevents him from hunting, but not from enjoying a meal of spatchcock Hungarian partridge.
I made a liver loaf with elk meat, elk liver, and pork fat.
Awesome.
Some spices. Gonna have some beets, quail in aspic.
Quail en gelée.
En gelée. Elk carpaccio.
And a morel and chanterelle risotto using a stock made from 10 pounds of roasted game bird bones.
And smoked trout?
Smoked trout, yeah. We caught these on the Bighorn.
You know, this is my problem in Montana. All this primitive country-ass cooking that you local yokels do. Oh, and a risotto with wild mushrooms. It's awesome. Every time I come here, I say, are there others like you?
Yeah, a few.
That risotto is gorgeous.
Excellent. Jimmy, you want to grab a hun right here? Okay, and a couple of morels.
Is writing any way to make a living?
No, not largely.
I try to explain this to people. You have to be either a monster of self-regard, delusional, or just so lucky that, I mean, the forces of the universe are aligned against you.
Yeah, the only thing you can do is if you're just completely tenacious and right in disregard for every outside circumstance that there is. Most people look in the mirror and say, you know, I'm getting old or something like that. But Shakespeare, the poet, said, devouring time, blood thou thy lion's paws. That's a little better, huh?
Nice view. I cannot complain about this.
Yeah.
So what are you doing? Around half a year here and half a year in
Arizona.
Arizona.
Real interesting culture. The ever-present Border Patrol, which I tease a lot. I'll be hunting and their Border Patrol plane flies over and I run under a tree like I'm hiding. And then their vehicles start swarming in. They say, Harrison, you asshole. I said, I'm trying to keep you on your toes.
What was it about this place that hooked you?
Well, I'm claustrophobic, acutely so. So Montana's about the best place you could live. You never feel hemmed in any direction. You could go miles and miles. It had been very hot for 3 weeks, so I worked well into a cool night when at 3 a.m. a big thunderstorm hit. The lightning was relentless 200 years ago when the Cheyenne from the east attacked the Absaroka in this valley. A group of the Cheyenne were Masom, the wolves of heaven, warriors who painted themselves solid yellow. I want to be a yellow wolf of heaven. They disappeared into the lightning.